Hi guys, Rubber Toe Assembly here. We'll be building the Bowflex Xtreme 2 SE Home Gym. First thing you want to do is lay everything out, unpack it nice and neat as you see here. And this is the hardware pack that we will be using as we go step by step according to the assembly manual. Alright, so getting right to section 5, installing the pulley arms. First thing I want to grab out of the hardware pack here is the long, they're about 9.5-inch bolts. They're called threaded studs, and there's two of them. They're the biggest bolts in the hardware pack at the top. They're labeled, I believe, M's, 2 M's, and you grab those threaded bolts. They're threaded on both ends, so you put a big 1/2-inch washer, I believe it's labeled D, yeah, and then the locking nylon lock nut to it is labeled N, and you put one of those nuts on the end of each one, hand tighten them as far as they will go down, and then you slide a washer onto it. And then I grab that threaded stud bolt and I put it through the top hole. It's going to be the top hole of that pulley arm, and I run it through there nice, just as you see there. And then I run it through the appropriate hole, the top side hole on the side of the lower lat assembly towards the back, and I run it through there nice and straight as you see, and then I swing it down upside down like that, so it basically can hang by itself as you see there if needed for a second or two. And I can slide the other pulley arm onto the other side and swing it around and down, so it kind of see how it holds itself there. And then I put the washer and the nylon lock nut on the end of that, and I tighten that down, hand tighten it all the way. So the next step will be to put the other threaded stud bolt towards the top. So I swing it back up into the position it's supposed to be, run it through that bottom hole nice and loose, so you got plenty of wiggle room there to slide that bolt through, and I get it locked in, and then I swing the opposite side as you see there, the way it's supposed to be, so they're both pointing up now like a T, the letter T, and put on a 1/2-inch washer with a nylon lock nut on both sides. Then I use a 3/4-inch deep socket with a ratchet, and then a angled ratchet wrench on the other side, and just turn them both at the same time, so it kind of runs the nuts onto the threads of both sides kind of at the same time, so there's equal distance. That's my goal, to have equal distance of the threaded bolt sticking out of the end, so it looks nice and pretty. Or you could use an open end wrench, just takes a little longer. The next step will be the slider pulleys, to install those, and they just slide right onto the pulley arms, and they will be the ones with the stickers that you just saw there. The only two that have the stickers on go right here, and you slide those on. I put the little locking pin towards the back, so you're not bumping your elbows when you do that one exercise. You could possibly reach out and bump your elbows on that, so I put them so where they're pointing towards the back, nice and pretty, out of the way. And then the next step will be section 7, which is a seat assembly. This is pretty easy section, I think. It's just 4 little screws and washers that go in, labeled L as you see there, and E. The L's are the little button head screws, 4 of those. They're like 5/16 inch by what, 3/4 inches long, kind of little shorties. And they screw in there, put a washer on it first, and then screw it in there as you see there, with the Allen button head pointing up, which you'll come back through later and tighten with a little Allen wrench they give you. So 1, 2, 3, 4, those are all in. I come back after they're all hand tightened. I come back and zip tighten them all with the drill gun or an Allen wrench. So the seat assembly is complete, and we go to section 8, which is the leg extension assembly, and that consists of these 2 rods, which they call a chrome tube, is what they call them. They're just 2 chrome rods which get a foam roller pad on the end of each side. I just slide one of the foam roller pads onto each one of those chrome tubes, and I put the cap in at the end. The end cap. Should be 4 of those. I just press it on there inside, just as you see there. So I got one on each, and I could just run it through there in a minute. And I always flip this around the way it's going to go. There's a little rubber square pad that you see there, and I like to, you know, it's the right way it's supposed to be when it's swung around and that little pad is pressing up against the metal. And so you run a chrome tube with the pad on it through there, as you see there, and put the other pad on the other side. Just slides right down onto there. Give it a little twist and a little push, and then put a end cap in the end of that. I just use something light like a little mallet and just tap it in there. Give it a couple taps so it's nice and snug. Make it look good. And the second one will be going up towards the top part of it in the other hole. I use that middle hole. It's a good medium to use anyways. So there's section 5, 6, 7, and 8 of the Bowflex Xtreme 2 SE home gym. Great machine. That's it in action when it's all set. We're going to show you the next steps coming up. Section 9, 10, and 11 is the next 2 pages coming up. It will be the halfway point. You're halfway through this beautiful assembly, Bowflex.